talking, or rather sticking with this entire theme of consumer, the paints industry has seen what, roughly 10,000 crore of capex, but the market leader Asian Paints is losing ground. It's fast evolving as a sector. To give us better perspective on all that's happening, we have with us Sajit Mangat. Talk to us about what you're observing within that paint space. What's changing?
If you look at the fourth quarter numbers, and I think almost all numbers are out except for one, Shalimar Paint. I think it's going to be it's expected today. What we are seeing through that sector is a pain with respect to pricing. There is a huge volume issue, volume market share gain, which everyone is trying to do. Within the paint sector, what we have seen in the last 1 year is that the top leader in the paint sector, which is Asian Paints, has lost its revenue market share from around 58.5% at the end of FY24 to nearly 54.5% at the end of FY25. Now, there has been some gains that happened in the Q4, but what it basically means that the hyper competition which is coming into the paint sector, especially in these segments like premium and the luxury segment, is eating into the market share or revenue market share of the leader there. We have other players which are coming into the sector like a Berger, like a Kansai Nerolac, and others, Birla Opus. These all companies have undertaken a lot of capex. Birla Opus is undertaking a 10,000 odd crore of capex, which is expected to be fully operational in FY26. And we have Berger and Nerolac, which is also venturing into high-end products, which is in the premium decorative paint segment. And as a result of which, there is a hyper competition which is happening in this segment, and we are seeing a market share loss for the leader there, especially from a top line point of view, because there is, while everyone is trying to maintain the volume market share, there is a pricing competition which is coming in, and that's where many of the companies are facing margin issue. In Q4 numbers, if you look at, Asian Paints ended the Q4 with a market share of nearly 55.3%, but it still lost nearly 3.5% market share from what it had in FY24 end. We have other paint majors which have garnered market share towards the end of FY25, which includes Berger and the Kansai. And if you look at the disruptor in this segment, which is Birla Opus, there were three new paints company which came into the market, which one being from JSW, which is mainly into industrial paints, but Birla Opus being into decorative paints, ended the financial year at 3.5% and Q4 with a 6% revenue market share. And Birla is looking at a double-digit market share in FY26. So there is going to be more competition and pain ahead for many of the incumbents who are trying hard by spending on marketing and distribution to maintain the revenue market share in this segment.
Okay, so that's with regard to paints, and so many things changing in this space. Siddharth, how are you viewing all of the developments that are playing out, and would you at all dare to, if I can call it, play this, or would you just sit back and watch everything unfold?
Yeah, definitely a lot of competition coming up in the paint space. Even demand has not been that strong. So we have been underweight on Asian Paints. That's the only stock under coverage, apart from Grassing, where you indirectly play the Birla Opus Paints business. So clearly, there is a weak demand. Intense competition has been a key risk, and that is impacting some of the incumbents, including the Asian Paints. We have seen some of the larger players also exiting the business, which is now being sold, ExxonMobil. So clearly, what we see is that competition would continue to impact at least for 1 more year. The only player space or the player that we like in this space is indirectly through Grasim, where within a year and a half of launch, they have garnered a good market share. 5 of the plants are now up and running. The 6th one